The air crackled with tension in the White House on February 21, 2025. Former President Donald Trump, known for his combative style, had gathered governors from across the nation for a bipartisan meeting. The issue at hand was Trump's recent executive order barring transgender women from participating in women's sports. The meeting was intended to be a platform for dialogue, but it quickly escalated into a heated exchange between Trump and Maine's Democratic Governor Janet Mills. Cameras flashed as Trump, in his typical no-holds-barred approach, confronted Governor Mills over her state's stance on the executive order. He argued that the people of Maine stood with him, asserting that they did not support the idea of transgender women competing in women's sports. With a pointed finger and a stern tone, Trump warned Governor Mills that her defiance of the executive order could cost her state dearly in federal funding. The message was clear: fall in line or face the consequences. Governor Mills, known for her composure and sharp wit, refused to back down. She countered Trump's pronouncements, asserting that Maine would continue to uphold its own laws and policies protecting transgender rights. Her voice, though calm, carried an undercurrent of steel as she reminded the former president that Maine, like every other state, values fairness and equality. She made it clear that she would not be bullied into sacrificing the rights of her constituents for the sake of political expediency. The room buzzed with a mix of discomfort and anticipation as the confrontation played out. The exchange between Trump and Mills was not just a clash of personalities, but a microcosm of the larger national debate on transgender rights and the role of the federal government in dictating state policy. At the heart of the dispute lies Trump's controversial executive order, signed on February 5, 2025. This order, rooted in the former president's conservative ideology, effectively bans transgender women from competing in women's sports at all levels, from high school to professional leagues. Trump and his supporters framed the order as a necessary measure to protect women's sports, arguing that transgender women have an unfair biological advantage. The executive order, however, goes beyond simply barring transgender athletes from competition. It also carries a significant financial threat. States that fail to comply with the ban risk losing federal funding for their educational institutions. This move is seen by many as a blatant attempt by the Trump administration to strong-arm states into adopting its conservative agenda, using federal funding as leverage. The implications of the executive order extend far beyond the realm of sports. It strikes at the core of transgender rights, fueling a national debate about identity, equality, and the limits of federal power. Critics argue that the order is discriminatory, harmful, and likely to have a chilling effect on the participation of transgender youth in sports and society at large. The order has also sparked a legal firestorm, with several states, including California and Minnesota, vowing to fight it in court. These states argue that the executive order violates the Constitution and infringes upon their sovereignty. The stage is set for a protracted legal battle that could have far-reaching consequences for transgender rights and the balance of power between the federal government and the states. Governor Mills's defiant response to Trump's threats reflects the growing resistance among Democratic state leaders to the former president's attempts to impose his conservative agenda on the nation. Mills, a staunch advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, has made it clear that she will not compromise on her principles, even in the face of political pressure and financial threats. "We will see you in court," Governor Mills declared, her words echoing the sentiments of many Americans who believe that the Trump administration has overstepped its bounds. Her vow to challenge the executive order in court signals a willingness to engage in a legal battle to protect the rights of transgender athletes and preserve Maine's autonomy. Her stance has been met with praise from LGBTQ+ advocacy groups and civil rights organizations, who see her as a champion for equality in a time of increasing political polarization. Governor Mills' actions highlight the crucial role that states play in safeguarding individual rights, particularly in the face of federal overreach. Her unwavering commitment to protecting transgender athletes sends a powerful message of support and solidarity to the LGBTQ+ community, not just in Maine, but across the nation. Her defiance serves as a beacon of hope for those who fear that the progress made on transgender rights is being eroded. The showdown between Trump and Mills underscores the high stakes involved in the debate over transgender rights. It is a debate that goes beyond sports, touching upon fundamental questions of identity, equality, and the role of government in protecting individual liberties. The clash between Trump and Governor Mills over transgender athletes is a stark reminder of the deep divisions that continue to plague American society. The issue of transgender rights has become increasingly politicized, with conservatives and liberals often at odds over how to balance competing interests and values. Trump's executive order has further inflamed these divisions, pitting states against the federal government and reigniting the debate over the limits of executive power. The order has also sparked protests and demonstrations across the country, with supporters and opponents of transgender rights taking to the streets to make their voices heard. The debate over transgender athletes is just one manifestation of a broader cultural war playing out in America. It reflects a fundamental disagreement over the nature of gender, the meaning of equality, and the role of government in regulating social behavior. This cultural war is fueled by misinformation, fear, and prejudice, and it shows no signs of abating anytime soon. In this highly charged environment, the actions of leaders like Governor Mills take on added significance. By standing up for what she believes in, Governor Mills is not only defending the rights of transgender athletes, but also upholding the principles of democracy and the rule of law. Her courage and conviction offer a glimmer of hope in a nation grappling with deep divisions and an uncertain future.